Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to episode 15 of the Stream Bucket podcast.
Yeah, it's a good one. We've got lots to talk about.
It's a waffly one.
Waffling.
We left the waffle iron on.
Yeah, we now have to do waffle irons for many hours in order to edit this.
What?
This is normally what happens, isn't it?
Why would we have waffle irons on to edit the waffle irons?
I don't know.
It's very warm in this room.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to say...
But he's left the waffle iron on. That's why it's so warm.
Yeah. You brought it back. Well done.
No worries. Pro.
Yes. So, what did we talk about?
Well, we talked about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That was the film we did. Do you remember? We talked about Triple Frontier. We talked about Love, Death and Robots.
Love, Death and Robots.
Yeah, we went into Fear and Loathing. That was our film of choice.
Yep.
We had a good old Fortnight Schmort night.
A whole fortnight of Fortnite Schmort night.
Yes. And we did many trailers. Because many trailers did come out.
Many trailers did come out. They're like lice. Multiplying. We also talked a bit about the film work we did the other week and how we're getting on with that. Yeah,
and we also talked about 7 monster sagas that have been brought back to life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
exciting.
Very, very exciting. There's a lot coming out at the moment.
Yeah. Lots. People were looking back and thinking, that's still worth money. Let's push it out of our
what have we got?
Orifices.
It's the phrase that all studio execs say, what have we got? Still, they will be owned by Disney by next week, so...
yeah, it's true.
Anyway, let's get straight into the show, shall we?
Cool. Hoist the curtain, dim the lights, roll out the red carpet, and welcome your hosts, Adam and Rob. Screen Bucket!
Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Rob.
And welcome to... Oh, we haven't got a theme, have we?
No.
It's just standard Stream Bucket this time.
Yeah, but it's a fun Screen Bucket.
Is it?
Yeah, because we've done cool stuff.
Yeah,
in between now and the last episode.
That's very true. And we've got some awesome films lined up to talk about.
Yes, very good films.
But first, how are you, Rob?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm alright. I feel like we never actually asked that. It's always a strange thing to just jump in.
It's quite an antisocial, sort of lecherous opening, isn't it?
Lecherous opening, is it?
I don't know, we just don't care about each other, we just crack on. I think it's quite nice that you ask me how I am.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome. See, someone pointed this out to me. We say thank you too much. This country.
Oh yeah, man, I say it all the time.
Yeah, me too. Like, yeah, can I borrow £5? There you go. Thanks.
Well, you meant to say thanks for that.
No. You giving it, you'll say thanks.
Oh, right. Because you're getting it, but the favour of not having the £5 for a while.
My theory is that if we aren't polite when we do something nice for other people, they might stab us in the face.
Yeah, that does what happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the centre of all Englishness is just the fear of being punched or stabbed in the face.
Yes, definitely. So be nice.
Be nice. Be polite. Don't cause arguments. Theresa May.
Yeah. Look what you've done! No, Cameron, look what you've done!
I didn't even mean to say that. That just came out of my mouth.
Oh, jeez.
Ugh.
It's everywhere, though. Every time you look at a screen, it's there, the B word.
It is. And as, Screen Bucketeers, it's quite hard to avoid.
Yeah, because we're about the screen.
Yeah. That's why a whole new wave of Netflix subscribers, I imagine. Is that why people watch things?
What do you mean?
To avoid the real world.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
If you're watching normal TV, you can scroll onto anything.
Imagine if you were scrolling through Netflix and then you went to a panel and it just said Brexit.
That will happen though.
Definitely.
There'll
be a news thing on Netflix, won't there?
Did you hear about the guy who's making the Brexit film?
No.
He's just embezzled loads of money.
No.
He himself is corrupted.
Wow.
Anyway. Yes, but we're not going to talk about it.
No, that's enough of that word.
We got the elephant out of the room. Right now there's some sort of vote happening. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's another one in a long line of votes.
Anyway.
Yeah, what are we talking about in this show?
Okay, we have a plethora of things.
Yes.
Starting with, we've got an in-depth film to talk about once more. This is your choice this time.
It is.
What do we go for?
We went for Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Yes. Film I watched 10 years ago. I remember not knowing what to expect, and I was still very, very, very shocked.
Yes. I think the last time I watched it was 10 years ago.
It's certainly not a film for the faint-hearted. And it's not our usual kind of film not for the faint-hearted. It's traumatic in a different way. But we'll get into that.
Yes, indeed. We've got film reviews, plenty. We've got Fisherman's Friends. Shout out to my brother Gavin, who lives there.
Nice.
Ooh. I've sat in the pub that's in the film. Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah. Also, Us. Ooh. The spiritual sequel to Get Out. So that we did. You've seen Get Out, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Best film.
Fantastic. But we've just been attacked by trailers.
Yeah, oh God. It's been endless.
Lots of good ones and a few naff ones. Have you been watching anything in the past week?
I've been watching Love, Death and Robots.
It's very good, isn't it?
I love Death and Robots. It's the best thing on Netflix. I'm sorry.
Really?
It's my... well, yes, yeah. I'm going to defend that.
All right.
Best thing on Netflix. It's brilliant.
It's very ultra-violent, ultra-sweary, ultra everything to the max.
Yes. There's one episode that's like a Marilyn Manson video.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one with the girl and who witnesses her own murder.
Yeah. It's... I just absolutely... I'm a big fan of like anthology stuff anyway. Your Black Mirrors.
Yes.
Your Dimension 404s. And I like different styles of art as well. And this just combines everything I love into one thing. It's like it's made for me.
Yeah, no, I did think that when I was watching it. Because then there's one episode, there's like two monsters fighting each other. Then there's 3 robots going through a dystopian future. Everyone's dead and they're kind of like tour guides, or they're just sort of reviewing the planet and the chat. And then there's, the murdering one. There's like a man who lives on a farm with his wife, and then monsters come through a portal.
Yes.
And it's absolutely mind-blowing.
There's one issue I have.
What?
Well, there's 2. Well, there's 3, actually, thinking about it. One is the overuse of cats.
I've seen one cat episode so far.
Right, you haven't finished the whole thing. There are lots of cats.
Right.
And I don't like cats. They're rubbish. But although the episode you've seen, that does confirm my theory about cats.
Oh, they're going to take over?
That they're going to end the world. Yeah, they're evil.
Oh, yeah.
They dominated the Egyptians. In the future, people are going to look back at our society and think we worship cats the same way the Egyptians did.
My cat has already jumped forward a generation. He's evolved to the next stage of douchebag cat.
Okay.
He basically does 2 things now. He meows for food, and then he goes. And then he comes and he meows again. Or he'll trick you. He'll meow at you, like quite violently, quite abusively.
Right.
And then leave, and then come back and do the violent meowing again. He intimidates you, he bullies you. And it's kind of reduced the people in the house into this kind of slave kind of...
That's what they do,
to
man.
his will, we have to do everything he says.
Nick, who now does the video game reviews, as you will hear later, listeners, he... When I speak to him on the phone, he walks in, he always complains how much the cats smell. So, mate, that's just what cats do. They stink.
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, off the point. Issue 2, overuse of the C word.
Yes.
I have no issue with the C word, but...
Cats.
Crikey, oh blimey. There's a lot of C words in this series. It's almost like they were given a list of how to be edgy.
I know what you mean, because it becomes annoying. There was a few Game of Thrones episodes where they kept using the C, and then you're like, yeah, well, it's lost its effect now, and it feels like it's there, and it's deliberate, and it takes you out of the story.
I love the C word. I love it.
But in moderation.
But I love it because it's still effective, and it's not going to be effective if you keep using it. It just comes across as trying too hard. Issue number 3, voice acting.
Yeah?
It's not throughout, but especially in the first episode, the episode that's supposed to hook you in.
Hello, Gav. I've got monsters in the back. Yeah, mate.
Oh, he really drove me mad.
That's how we talk.
Is it?
That's how we talk, Governor.
Ah, it's lovely out here. I just walking about. Oh, dear, I've got nails that are actually blades.
Oh, it drove me mad. I was like, is this going to be the whole thing? It was like Overwatch. I don't know if you know Overwatch.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Anyway, what have you been watching?
I watched a film called Triple Frontier, a film that's been in development hell for like 10 years. It's basically an army film where 5 former super cool army people reunite to steal a massive hoard of cash from a drug lord. But it all goes wrong.
Oh,
It's got Ben Affleck, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam, Jarrett Gedlin, who I don't really recognise, and Pedro Pascal.
Who's Charlie?
Charlie Hunnam is the guy from what's the one with the bikes? This like the Hell's Angels TV show.
Sons of
Anarchy.
Or Narcos.
No, Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, and he was in like Pacific Rim and stuff. But yeah, it has its flaws, but in terms of cinematography, it is one of the best. Like, it's incredible. I don't know whereabouts in South America it's filmed. I think some of it's set in Guatemala, but there's genuinely like astounding scenery where you're like, I've never seen this in a film before. How did they find this? So as an army film, it's not standard. It looks different.
Okay, that's interesting.
Story's good, characters are compelling, and it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you're just enjoying watching them pull off this mission.
Right, okay.
And
excellent.
A lot of tension. Yes, very good. I heavily recommend it.
You were telling me about it the other day, and it reminded me of Sicario, which you haven't seen.
No.
That's more police action in the same sort of setting.
Now, these are two... This is kind of got... Like, it takes the good parts out of Expendables, where these guys have been dumped out of the army.
Good parts of Expendables.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're...
Charisma Carpenter.
They're not making money anymore, you know, they're all poor, but they've all got this incredible ability to go and, like, kick ass. So one of them rounds them up and says, come on, we're making minimum wage here, why don't we just go and steal these millions and millions of dollars from this drug lord and kill him as well. But, you know, things go wrong, and it's very good, and very much recommend it if you're into your war films.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that leads us nicely onto our first song.
Cool. Yes, this is from Triple Frontier. It is my favourite Metallica song. It is For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Ooh.
Hollow Dell Media's Screen Bucket with Adam and Rob.
You have one message. Message 1.
Yeah, hi guys. This is an unnamed movie producer. Just calling to let you know that we've asked the cast of Quaggers just to phone in and give you a little bit of feedback on the shoot the other week. So look forward to hearing those, and I'm looking forward to getting that 20 quid back I lent you last week. Alright guys, see you later.
Oh, mademoiselle, would you like to have a film discussion?
Oh, yes, monsieur. I would love to have an in-depth film discussion with you, like I do on Screen Bucket.
And that was Mama Told Me Not to Come by Three Dog Night. Not Tom Jones, Rob.
No, I thought it was Tom Jones.
No.
I just assumed. My brain told me.
Three Dog Night from the soundtrack of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Ooh. So why did you choose this film, Rob?
It's always, well, since I must have watched it about a decade ago, but since then it's had a place in my heart for, I don't know why, because it's funny, but it's also traumatic, it's also completely bizarre. It is quite literally a trip to watch. It,
yeah.
It catches the senses, that's for sure. But yeah, it's also because it comes from, the author of the book is Hunter S. Thompson, who is one of my favourite writers. For those of you who don't know, Thompson was an American journalist and author, and he was founder of the gonzo journalism movement. Gonzo journalism is a style that is written without claims of objectivity, often including the reporter as part of the story via a first-person narrative, which is kind of integral to Hunter S. Thompson's writing style.
Familiar to anyone who knows John Ronson, who gets involved to the point where he actually tracked down the Illuminati of Alex Jones. Fun fact.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's a hugely charismatic and controversial character, and he took a massive amount of drugs, often, all the way up until his death, I believe. He had an amazing writing style, and his stances on American political movements were quite well known. He was a big critic of Nixon. He lived till the age of 67. In 2005, he shot himself in the head, and I think he always planned to do that. He never wanted to be old. I think his philosophy was when his time was up, it was up. But yeah,
Right, okay.
so very, very interesting character.
Yes, and he done wrote a book, didn't he?
He did write a book, which is, in essence, a true story of his real experiences. In the book, he's called Raoul Duke, and he has a friend, doesn't he, who is based on Hunter S. Thompson's real-life attorney, Oscar Zeta Acosta, who obviously accompanied him on this ridiculous journey. So where does the film open, Adam?
Well, it opens in the Nevada desert, driving along. You've got, I'm just going to call him Duke, because Raoul is
hard to
too
say.
much of a mouthful. Duke and Gonzo, they're speeding along in their red convertible car
Yep,
in backcountry.
because they can't stop here.
Yes. They so they're already tripping. They're already having a whale of a time. Yeah.
And yeah, so we're going to have to tread carefully with this one. But
We are, yes.
they're under the influence of some stuff. And they run into a hitchhiker.
They do. They run into a hitchhiker with a familiar looking face, doesn't he? And when they pick up the hitchhiker, it sort of signals the start of the journey.
Yes.
Because through him, we hear what they're planning to do. They explain to the hitchhiker in full detail that they're on the way to Vegas.
Yes, to go to the Mints 400, a motorcycle race in the middle of the desert. They want to give it full coverage. They are hired by some unknown, unimportant sort of news article agency.
Yes.
It's completely irrelevant. All you need to care about is they are off on this journey.
What? I don't want to pierce into the logic too much. Why would he bring his lawyer? Because
Is it because he can?
I guess.
Because if you're a journalist, surely all you need is your identification, and you're going to get into your hotel room, you're going to get into your racing event, you're going to get into whatever event you're made for.
I guess maybe he just doesn't want to go alone. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Because
I hadn't thought about that before.
the only advice that Dr. Gonzo ever gives him, he starts off with, as your attorney, I advise you to
Yes.
insert, buy a gun, buy X amount of drugs, buy a large convertible.
It's funny, we've talked about Big Lebowski before, and he's a very similar role to John Goodman,
Oh, how so?
in that he's just a sort of voice of anarchy.
He is.
He's not helping, but he's always there to give advice when needed, I guess.
Exactly, yeah.
So the hitchhiker quickly legs it when he realises that this is not going to be a fun or safe trip.
No.
And we follow Duke and Gonzo on their journey. So yes, the hitchhiker legs it off, and we follow the journey all the way to Vegas.
Where just before we get to Vegas, so they've got half an hour about to go, and they need to dose up on whatever they need to dose up on.
Oh yes.
And they do. And then they get to Vegas, and it all starts to kick in when Duke and Gonzo are trying to check into their first hotel. And this is where the Gilliam truly starts.
Oh yeah. Oh, we haven't even mentioned that. So this film's directed by Terry Gilliam,
Oh, yeah.
off of the Monty Python. And you can tell.
Yes, very much.
He filled the boots of it's Martin Scorsese and then someone else, wasn't it?
Yes.
There were a few people who wanted to do this, but it fell to Gilliam, who rewrote the script over a weekend to make the film match his style.
I think he did it in 4 days.
Is it
didn't
4
he?
days?
Yeah.
And it's hard to think of a time when he wasn't involved.
No,
It lives and breathes his style.
absolutely.
Johnny Depp, incidentally, is playing a role very familiar to anyone who's seen Ed Wood. He has that, certainly early on anyway, he's got the curt, crisp voice.
Right.
This is backcountry. It's very 1950s almost. It's like he's leaning us into this adventure film.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, it boils down, breaks down a bit.
It becomes a kind of irony, doesn't it? When it gets more and more depraved, but you've still got this crisp, smart, old-fashioned voice.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Because Johnny Depp prepared for this film by following Hunter S. Thompson around. He even wears his clothes, his real clothes in the film, and the red convertible.
Yes,
It's all genuine stuff.
Amazing detail.
So yeah, he lived and breathed this role, and so you do get that old worldy thing. Gonzo...
Well, I know Benicio del Toro, he spent 3 months eating donuts, didn't he? He gained 40 pounds for the role. He very much researched the man himself, who, this isn't any spoiler to the film, but one day he walked onto a boat and nobody ever saw him again. He was a larger-than-life character in real life, apparently not exaggerated in any way, shape or form, which is probably detriment to...
I mean, that's quite disturbing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's not worth us breaking down the plot in too much detail, because generally speaking, the plot is 2 men go on a bender.
Yeah.
Where it becomes interesting are these short bursts of weirdness that happen.
Absolutely.
So, relatively early on, they go to the circus.
Before they get to the circus, and the hotel room turns into the goddamn reptile house.
Oh, man.
Where are the golf shoes? It's just absurdity.
It really, really is. The level of detail into the madness. So Terry Gilliam's always been good at dream and nightmare sequences. Time Bandits, in particular, has a very spooky set of things. And that dives in here quite a lot. The chameleons, the iguana things, just everywhere.
You just see a tongue suddenly coming out and smashing into a cocktail glass, and as he turns up, he's just surrounded by these horrible lizards.
Yeah. When they do get to the race that they're supposed to be covering, Duke becomes lost in the sand as if he's at war.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's brilliant. But before that, when he's in the hotel room and then the photographer comes to meet him, he's watching a Vietnam film on the TV.
Yes.
He looks up, and the guy's dressed in full army uniform saying, "Panzangers! Kazaa!" Just yelling.
Well, and he sees the TV blur out into reality, and he doesn't know where the TV ends. He's trying to move it around.
Oh.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. As you pointed out earlier, before recording, they never seem to have that good a time. Whatever they're doing, they always seem to be having some sort of nightmare.
Yeah, awful time.
Yeah. Again, made up the imagery of Terry Gilliam's stuff. So, like when they're in this circus, they've got massive murals of screaming clowns either side.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
It's all a bit bizarre. They also have the trapeze act, which is about a baby being born and having its umbilical cord cut.
That's so good.
And then he gets to the next bit, and they've got a bloody wolverine or a wild dog or something, which they're just swinging around.
I love that. I really love that. Oh man, yeah. The thing starts to go wrong when Gonzo starts to twist and turn a bit. It starts off where it's almost comedy scene. It feels a bit train spotting at this point, but he realises that Gonzo's gone too far and he's starting to react negatively.
Yeah.
And Duke starts to fear for his life, in fact.
He does. What does he say? You can turn your back on a man, but you can never turn your back on a drug.
Yeah. So
it's definitely specifically Dr. Gonzo being on these things, which is a problem because he's pulling knives on people, he's pulling guns on people, he's threatening people in lifts.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's the bit. But at this point, I was saying earlier that it's at this point he didn't feel like a villain. He just felt like the foil. He felt like the complication. But at one point they separate, and Duke finds him again, and at that point he's gone bad.
Yes,
he's gone to the dark side.
Yes, he's gone way too far. He's gone beyond the spectrum of, okay, that's just crazy, man. He's gone into, that's wrong.
Yes, and Duke doesn't react too negatively at first. He just tries to get through it and get to the next point and carry on.
Yeah.
But then it's too far. And we're running out of time now, so there's so much to talk about with this film.
One thing that's definitely worth mentioning is the political kind of... It's very much under the microscope of the classes of America, and because you see all these lonely souls in these places like casinos and hotel lobbies and stuff, just staring into their glasses or speaking to a prostitute or whatever. Yeah, there's constant political raving. At one moment he says, Bazooko Circus is what the whole world would be doing on a Saturday night if the Nazis had won the war.
Yes.
Which I thought was brilliant. But he also says he's looking around this casino full of dead end people, and he says, who are these people, these faces? They look like characters of used car salesmen from Dallas, still humping the American dream, which kind of paints a picture that he is the weirdo and Dr. Gonzo is the weirdo, and it kind of creates an element of two sides. On the extreme of one side, you've got the policeman when he goes into the convention, and you have all the police at the anti-drugs sort of convention, where you've got a stupid scientist talking about like really wrong facts about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the right-hand side,
there's a moment when Johnny Depp looks at the camera during that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
He just looks... No, I don't think this is true.
They call it a roach because it looks like a cockroach. Yeah. And but then on the flip side of that, you've got when he has a flashback to the 60s, and in the scene, actually, Hunter S. Thompson has a guest appearance. But he goes into the bathroom, and for whatever reason, which I won't go into, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers comes out of a bathroom and starts licking the end of his jacket.
The best bit about that is the bit after that, which again made me laugh out loud.
What?
The guy walks in, doesn't he?
Yeah,
while
that's what
happening.
I mean. Yeah.
The guy walks in, and then they're saying, we've ruined his life. He's going to spend the rest of his life thinking that if he walks into a bathroom again, he'll find someone
doing that.
Yeah.
But he didn't just say, he said, with any luck, his life was ruined.
Right.
Which is beautiful. And that kind of pinpoints the two sides. You've got this blind kind of money anti sort of weirdness side of clean cut people who just want to go to their hotel and get the room that they paid for without the receptionist shouting at them.
Did you spot who that was? The receptionist?
Yes.
That was weird.
I know, right?
Chris Maloney, who now is best known as playing mad, mental, hard nut characters, is playing a very effeminate sort of
hotel receptionist.
And it's chalk and cheese. It's so...
It's insane.
Yeah. So I take it you'll recommend Fear and Loathing.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic, an absolute cult classic. I would argue that it's actually a masterpiece from a certain point of view, and I would heavily recommend it.
I agree.
I would hasten to add that it is certainly not for everyone, to the extent that 50% of people will hate it.
You're right, yeah. Well, I wouldn't put it that high up, I'll be honest. It is fun, and it is quirky, and it is insane. I would say it's like a nightmare, to be honest, more than anything else. It's also, not only is it quite funny and quirky and strange and adventurous, it's got one of the darkest, most tense scenes, certainly that Terry Gilliam's ever done.
Yes.
And it's almost sickening how grim it is, actually.
It leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth.
Really does. So for that factor, it does have everything there. Does it work for me? I'm not sure. It is good, though, and I would recommend it, but I wouldn't put it in the Hall of Fame, as it were. But there we go.
Tis in my Hall of Fame. I give it a tick.
Well, tisn't in mine.
Well, tis off.
Well, tis to you, sir.
Tis you too.
Tis to you, sir.
Screen Bucket on North Herts FM. Beep boop.
You have one message. Message 1.
Hello, I'm Blake. I'm playing Dan in Quaggers, and I am just about clean after a night of running through the woods, covered in blood and soup and all sorts. I think the smell has gone now, which is good. But if not, it doesn't matter, because I had a great time. Thanks a lot.
Uncle Adam's film review, Fisherman's Friends.
Here, Dad and I found another song last night.
What's that then?
Nelson's Blood. Love song, is it?
4 pints of lager, please.
We've got Gareth Ale Bishop's Finger.
Do we know where it's been?
No, but I got a pretty good idea where he could stick it.
We're on a stag do. Would you mind backing up? My friend's only just passed his test.
It's a one-way street.
You're going to have to back up.
What tosser? What's a tosser?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're the Fisherman's Friends.
Oh, this is bloody talk show. No, I want these guys sign up to Duke Melody. What kind of music were they singing?
The rock and roll of 1752.
The bottom line is, you've got a unique sound, and we believe we can help you get it released by a major label.
Directed by Chris Foggin and written by Nick Moorcroft, Meg Leonard and Piers Ashworth, Fisherman's Friends is a biographical comedy drama film inspired by the real-life fishermen's friends, an ensemble of folk and sea shanty singing fishermen, lifeboatmen and coastguards who hit the headlines for a £1 million music deal with Universal Music in 2010. The film itself largely follows Danny, a cynical and perpetually single music exec, as he travels to Cornwall with his hotshot colleagues for arguably the most disappointing stag do ever committed to film. While there, the group visit Port Isaac, where Danny meet-cutes with Olwyn, a single mother and self-proclaimed music geek, whose father, Jim, is the lead man of local a cappella shanty singing group, the Fisherman's Friends. Seeing the Fisherman's Friends perform, Danny's boss persuades him to get the band signed, promptly before driving away at speed and giggling under his breath. Heading for the village pub, Danny meets with the band but quickly runs afoul of the emetophobic fisherman and father of Olwyn, Jim. Learning that he will need to impress Jim to have any chance of signing a contract with the band, Danny sets out to impress him and Olwyn while he's there, but soon finds himself drawn to the community, opening his heart to the history and spirit of the Cornish people, ultimately testing his integrity and re-evaluating his priorities in life along the way. Oh, and he also manages to get the Fisherman's Friends a music deal for £1 million. And there's some sort of drama about the pub, but who the hell cares at this point? Look, the script isn't exactly going to win any awards for originality. It's a by-the-numbers checklist of storytelling, but it doesn't ruin the film's overall charm and feel-good factor. It's a safe, cosy British comedy for all the family. James Purefoy's bandleader Jim absolutely steals the show, although the supporting cast are pretty solid too. Daniel Mays as Danny, especially, and his chemistry with Olwyn, played by Tuppence Middleton, which is possibly the most English name ever written, sells the otherwise crowbarred-in love story pretty well. I'll be honest, part of the appeal of Fisherman's Friends is genuinely just the setting. Port Isaac oozes charm and character, and frankly, any excuse to see it on the big screen is a good one. This isn't a documentary by any stretch of the imagination, but Fisherman's Friends excels as a cosy comedy with the added bonus of having a load of sea shanties thrown in too. Interestingly, my nephew Edward has managed to track down one of the real-life Fisherman's Friends, Jon Cleave, to ask him a few questions about the film.
Did you enjoy going to the premiere?
It was fantastic, because I took my wife Caroline with me, and we walked hand in hand down the red carpet, down to the end, and down at the end of the red carpet there were lots of people with microphones and cameras asking us whether we were happy that the film had been made, and all the cameras were flashing off and everything, and it was just like you see on the TV.
Were you involved in the filming?
We were involved in the filming. All of us in the Fisherman's Friends, we all had parts as extras. In other words, little walk-on parts. So my friend Jeremy and I, our little bit was a scene in the pub where there's a pub quiz, and we were supposed to be pub quiz team members from Padstow, and there was a big ginger man with a big ginger beard who was very angry in the scene, and we'd come into the pub scene with him, and there was a little bit of a fight that started, and we had to pretend that we were involved in that, although we weren't really.
Is there going to be an album from the film?
There is an album from the film, and the album's called Keep Hauling, and it's got all the songs from the film on there, and we recorded those at St. Hugh Church, which is our favourite church in the area, which is about 5 miles away, maybe 4 miles away inland, and it's got really nice acoustics in there, so you can really hear yourself singing. And we recorded that album, I guess 8 months ago, and it's come out now.
Where was James's moustache?
James Purefoy's moustache, the actor James. Yeah. Did you think? I don't know if he was meant to be me. His voice was a bit like mine. It was very deep, wasn't it? But he didn't look much like me, did he? For one thing, he had lots of hair, and I don't. But yeah, He had I think he had a beard and a moustache, didn't he? Beard and small moustache, I think. But the thing was, with the Fisherman's Friends in the film, none of them actually looked like any of the real Fisherman's Friends as people. It was just overall, they looked a bit like us, which was good, really.
What's your favourite pasty?
Oh, well, my favourite pasty is the one that my mum makes. And my mum, you know my mum, she's 90 now, Mrs. Cleave. And she makes lovely pasties. So they're properly traditional Cornish pasties with skirt beef, sliced potato, sliced swede and sliced onion with a nub of butter in there and plenty of white pepper and salt seasoning.
What are your plans for the summer?
Well, my plans for the summer is, with the Fisherman's Friends, we've got quite a few festivals to go to. And we're getting asked to do more and more as time goes on now, with the film being very popular, because the film's doing very well. And so people thinking of asking us to festivals. So we've got 5 to do at the minute in August. So they're always good fun. But apart from that, we'll be singing down by the harbour in Port Isaac every 2 weeks, whenever it's a neap tide. Because on a spring tide, the tide comes in too far and there's not enough room for our audience then. So we're going to do that. And the rest of the time, I'm going to spend in my shop, where we are now, making sure that my shop is working properly and that the ladies that work for me are nice and happy, which they always are. And then I'm going to play as much golf as I possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Is there another question you've thought of that you'd like to ask? Because you can if you like.
No.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good.
Well done, nephew. And thanks, John, for the interview.
I'm just a sweet screen bucket.
The pub in Port Isaac, where much of the film takes place, in Fisherman's Friends, I had one of the best nights out in that pub.
Really, did you?
Yeah. It was like in October or something. It was off tourist season. And me and my girlfriend at the time went down and sat in the bar. And it was the messiest, weirdest night ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Just crazy old men.
Well, the fishermen were all there and they were all bored because there's no tourists around.
Right.
They weren't fishing because weather was bad, I guess. So they were just getting drunk.
Fantastic.
And they were just getting drunk. They were listening to... They put the jukebox on. Adam and the Ants.
Fantastic.
Singing... So just all these drunk fishermen singing, Prince Charming. It was the best. And the bass was so strong. The landlady was absolutely drunk. She was singing along. A girl came round and said that she just got a uni placement in London. And someone went, "In London?" Picked her up and threw her on the floor.
Really? Holy, what is this place?
It was amazing. And we're like, this is brilliant.
It's like the Old West.
It really was, yeah.
Take me there.
It turned into a lock-in.
Oh, fantastic.
We didn't realise. When we tried to leave, they went, oh, you're leaving? Oh, I undo the door.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Did you stay?
We ran out of money. They don't do cash. They don't do card down there.
Oh, no, they don't.
Good times. Anyway, what are we doing?
Do you want to talk about some trailers?
Yeah? Or we're doing Fortnite Schmortnight?
We can schmort. I can Fortnite some schmorts.
Let's Fortnite some schmorts.
Alright then, so the schmorts. If you just give me a moment to dig out my Fortnite Schmortnight clipboard.
Very professional.
I know, look at it. It's brown.
It wasn't when he started.
No, it wasn't. Oh dear. Cool, right. I know there was a Star Wars one last time. Yeah, there's another Star Wars bit of news. So Game of Thrones. Have you watched Game of Thrones?
No, I haven't watched
No, you haven't. Oh,
no, I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones?
I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Okay. David Benioff.
Smaug and the Playboy Bunnies.
Yeah. Stuart Lee. David Benioff.
That was a new one, actually.
Was it?
Yeah, it was fresh out of my brain.
Oh, well done.
Stuart Lee
sounded very Stuart Lee.
Stuart Lee was Bilbo and the Spearmint Rhino.
Oh, yes, there you go. So, the Game of Thrones creators, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, are helming the
Games Workshop on a stag night.
Yeah, can you imagine? You can't because you haven't seen Game of Thrones.
No, I can't.
Oh, no. That's a lot. Is there a towel?
The pint.
This is live, guys. This is really happening. Adam has just at this moment spilt a pint of water on his sister's floor and now left me alone with you for the first time. Oh God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Oh, he's come back. Did it dab? Did it just put? No, he's dabbing, he's doing a foot dab. See? Melissa will be listening to this back, hearing about your spillage.
No, she won't. No, she won't. She will never know.
Oh, I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to leave it in.
Sorry, you were saying?
I was saying, Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are doing the next Star Wars film series, or there's going to be 2 more trilogies, and I don't know if they're connected.
Oh, film?
Yeah.
Oh, I know about this.
But you might know more about this than I do. Their one is going to be set in the Old Republic.
Oh.
And there's going to be not a single mention of the name Skywalker. So,
well, I'm interested now.
Tell me about the Old Republic. What happens in the Old Republic?
Well, there's been I think the Old Republic stuff kicked off with video games more than... Oh no, there was comic stuff. Basically, okay, so there's a whole expanded universe for Star Wars. There always has been since the first film. And they delved into... There was a series called Tales from the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi? Of people discovering this sort of powers and stuff. And the thing with Star Wars is it's always been the same. There's sort of a problem with it. It's the most stagnated universe in sci-fi. It's always had ancient things.
Right, okay.
So it's hard to tell where it's going to fall. There's always wars happening. There's always the same sort of Sith and Jedi and light and dark.
And soldiers and...
Yeah. So that's the thing with a lot of the games, is they're very much aping off the original trilogy.
Right.
So you still have the ship freighter pilot, the smuggler, the Jedi hopeful. So hopefully they'll move away from that. I hope they would.
I wouldn't count on it, but these guys know their stuff. Honestly, they're, Game of Thrones is well good. So I do, and maybe
unless they're gonna make it like ancient Star Wars, like the Jedi and the Sith as knights.
That'd be really cool.
I don't think they've ever done that.
That would be really cool.
There's one thing in Expanded Universe that always would come up, and it was I can't remember what it was called now. There was like a planet that was ruled by the dark side, that they shoved all the evil out of the cities and they built the cities up. So they become this like Mesopotamian, ancient Egypt sort of thing. Lots of monuments, lots of big walls and big guns and stuff, fighting off these dragons.
Ooh.
And they would, this sounds like it probably will be it, and they would kick people out. They'd kick out the baddies.
Right.
And they would to be killed in the wastelands of all the dragon stuff. But then they survived, a lot of them survived, and would train the dragons and stuff.
Wow.
So
that's really cool.
In that particular story, it's implied that the people in the cities are the goodies, but of course it twists round.
Oh, wow.
So the rebels are the ones who were kicked out, and the heroes are the ones who had to train the dragons to fight back against the tyrannical regime.
Really cool.
So that might be an interesting setting.
Yeah, I think give us some breathing space from the constant lasers and.
I think the best
droids. And...
Yeah, the best comparison would be Conan.
Right.
So if you imagine Conan with Star Wars lasers.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that would be. That's that's one story that I remember. So.
Well, we will move on from Star Wars to some fantastic news. It will be somewhat old news to you guys now. Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Confirmed by the men themselves. So it's been officially given a summer release date for 2020 by Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. So yeah, we've got little more than a year to wait. They were very thankful to all the fans for being so patient, because this has been so long in the waiting.
Has it been too long?
I think they're still in the window that it's funny that it's been this long, but that window is about to shut. This will have to be the last thing. They can't do another thing after this.
But honestly, who's the audience?
Stoners left over from the 90s.
I guess. It's not going to be young people. They don't know who Bill and Ted is.
But I imagine, because I would look back on comedy from the 80s, more obscure stuff like Cheech and Chong when I was sort of 18 or whatever. And I imagine people do look back on Bill and Ted.
I don't think they do.
Surely.
I think people have forgotten Bill and Ted.
Nah, because people know about Wayne's World still and stuff. I think that's in the same sort
do
of level.
They?
Surely.
Young people, do they know Bill and Ted? Do they know Wayne's World?
I'd have to ask my nephews. I think pockets of them would.
Pockets of them would. And the fact they're your nephews, it's a slight bias. But there's people I speak to at work who don't know Bill and Ted. And you would think they would. It's people in their 20s, not even...
Oh, that's a shame.
I think it's been mostly forgotten. And and I'm not saying that in any good way. I hate that. But I think it's just been too long. I don't know. It's not like Back to the Future that's been constant.
I was hope that it coming out would make people go and revisit the old ones and discover it. Because the people, kids will go online and they'll read about Bill and Ted. Who's Bill and Ted? I like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to go back. Maybe pockets of little media students would be like, oh yeah, I want to get into this new...
The thing is, of course, as well, I remember this coming out when the first John Wick came out, or the second John Wick came out. People like us and older would be saying, I can't believe, look how far he's come from Bill and Ted to The Matrix to this. But people who grew up with John Wick are going to be going, what?
What's he done?
Yeah, that's what he is.
Because knowing him, he'd maybe have a little laugh about that.
I guess so.
He's accomplished a great deal and played some, more than 3 iconic roles. So... Yeah, fair enough. Anyway. This is massive. Thank you for reminding me. Disney and Fox. The merging.
Yeah.
It's a bit terrifying. How much power do you want to give to one group of people? I don't know.
It's kind of scary. In my head, Disney now own all media.
Yeah.
But that's not true, is it?
Their tentacles go further, but so before the merger...
The mouse tentacles.
Yeah.
Whoa, Pluto, I've got Fox. Let's get Universal next time.
So
Captain America. Captain America. We got Fantastic Four. And we got the X-Men too. The Alien Queen is a Disney princess.
Anyway.
26% they had the share on, and this is...
That's us sued.
This is... Yeah. Well, this is us murdered. Last year, Disney's share of the entire domestic box office, I assume that means America, was 26%. That's over a quarter. 9% belonged to 20th Century Fox, who were the 5th largest. So that 9.1% has now gone to Disney, so they're at around 35%, over a third of the American domestic box office, I assume, they now have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't include the network TV channel news and sports programming, which is part of Fox Corp now. But Disney now does own Fox Searchlight, the cable channels FX and National Geographic, Fox's TV production company that owns The Simpsons.
Disney own Evil Dead then?
Yeah. Most of Hulu they now own. A library of classic films stretching back over 80 years. And now the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four.
Yes, right. Now, here's the thing. Why did they do this? It can't just be money. Did they do this just for the X-Men versus the Avengers?
Because, I wouldn't put it past them.
Did they do this? Star Wars was always 20th Century Fox and Lucas. Did they do this to shore up their Star Wars rights?
Maybe. How would that work?
Well, I'm wondering if... I don't know the specifics here. There's only brainstorming it. I wonder if there was some sort of rights issue with the original trilogy, like DVDs or something.
Oh, right.
Because that was done by Fox.
Oh, so now they can shove Disney in the front of it instead.
Yeah. I wonder if it's claiming the history, the backlog of Star Wars.
I hope not.
Because surely they've got enough money. And at what point is it a monopoly? At what point is this now illegal?
I don't know, at what point do they, because then in 5 years' time, what if they've got eyes on Universal or something, or Warner Brothers?
It seems that way.
It gets bigger and bigger, and then it's just Disney.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the cinema and watch a Disney? I'm just going.
Do you want to go to the Disney to watch a film?
Do you want to go to the Disney to watch Disney on Disney?
Yeah. I'm terrified, man. Go away.
They will buy us now, just because they can, just in case.
I don't like it.
And they'll be allowed to.
So, yes, the alien queen is now a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Which was a joke 5 years ago. Now it's true.
Oh, it's true. Oh, God.
Oh, so they own The Simpsons now, do they?
Yeah.
Well, I hope they kill it.
You can't kill The Simpsons. The Simpsons...
They're like lice.
Yeah, it's just a nuclear cockroach that's...
The Simpsons are the herpes of entertainment.
Yeah.
Symptomless.
That's awful, isn't it?
It is awful.
Because The Simpsons used to be a triumphant, absolute, like, social commentary to the max.
Yeah.
Great comedy.
They lost all their talent.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's just gone on too long.
But it's going on still, which means I'm sure that millions and millions of people still watch it.
Maybe.
They must do.
But those people are probably simpering idiots, aren't they? They're probably laughing at it. It's really noticeable on Channel 4 when they play them on like Sunday afternoons or whatever. When they play the old ones mixed in with the new ones.
Oh, really?
You'll be going, oh, this is really... I love this episode. Oh, it's so quotable. Yeah, it's really, really funny. And then the next episode,
and do you know what?
Nothing.
It's as if it had a messy night with Family Guy and then caught some of Family Guy's diseases.
Well, there was a period before I stopped watching it completely where it was trying to do Family Guy. And it's really noticeable.
Oh, it would do the flashbacks.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
How about those TV series?
The TV... Oh!
Let's talk about that.
Oh!
So, Rob suddenly messaged me the other day with a Digital Spy article. Basically, there's a few TV series that we know about. We've mentioned Gremlins, that there's a new TV series on Shudder, which is out, I think, by the time this show goes out. I haven't watched it yet. But there's also a load of other TV shows that we didn't know about. Listeners of the show will know we're big into horror, though there is a bit of sci-fi in here as well. So yes, 7 franchises that have been confirmed-ish to be coming out as TV series. Now, I mentioned Critters, so we'll skip over that one. Now, here's a funny old one. Gremlins.
Yeah.
Because they were talking about Gremlins 3 not long ago.
It was always going to be animated, wasn't it? Or was it not?
No, me and Josh went to see Gremlins at the Prince Charles Cinema a while ago now.
Right.
With Zach Gadigan, the lead actor, who basically confirmed there was going to be Gremlins 3.
Live action.
Live action, as was. Yeah. But that seems to have gone a bit quiet now. Instead, an animated TV show.
Which is interesting. And I can't stop picturing really crappy 90s animation for it in my head.
Yeah.
I can't see it being good animation, I don't know.
I'm seeing it like, or even 80s, like He-Man. Like really naff, like...
I mean, a good place to get its hands on it would be Cartoon Network. If you had a kind of cow and chicken vibe of Gremlins.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But apparently it's a prequel. It's going to be following Mr. Wing.
Okay.
As a young man. Basically having adventures with Gizmo.
Okay.
Prior to him selling it in the first film.
All right, that's interesting. I like that.
That is interesting.
So it'd be set sort of maybe in the 1930s or something. Maybe he's going through Japan, accidentally creating gremlins.
Yeah, maybe. Or like the San Francisco Chinatown Underground or something.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sold on it, but I'm interested.
Resident Evil. So Netflix has got his mitts on it. Surprise, surprise. This could either be yuck, or it could be the best thing ever for me. I'm a massive Resident Evil fan. Me and Adam are both huge fans of Resident Evil 4 in particular.
Yes.
If they get it,
I'll buy at a higher price.
If this actually comes to be, and it looks like it is, please base it on the games this time. Please don't make up some ridiculous story about a woman who gets cloned and then cloned loads of times, and then she gets stuck in a city and then stuck in a desert, and then there's a really bad Wesker and the effects are terrible. Some of it was good. Please have it so the first series is based in the mansion, the second series is set in the police station, etc., etc. We want to have the story of the games put onto the screen.
I'm a bit worried about this detail. The plan is to expand the Resident Evil universe and deepen its existing mythology.
No.
Yes, although it doesn't say it, but Resident Evil, I've got a vision in my head of it being like anime and never watching it because of that. Because it's a very Japanesey game, especially the first couple.
Yeah. Well, did you see Degeneration and things like that as kind of CGI kind of animation?
No, I don't think I did.
They were one of the Degeneration was better than the films.
Okay, all right, that's
definitely.
interesting.
It had the same sort of graphics as the cutscenes of the later games. So just constantly watching that, which can be a bit jarring, but at the same time, it was a lot more Resident Evil than the films were.
All right, okay. Well, we'll see. It'll just be following Umbrella.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, The Lost Boys.
Yep.
Yeah. That would be fantastic as a TV series.
Nice little taste of teen angst.
Well, we don't... In terms of Supernatural, we have Sabrina, which was boring. I didn't like it. There is that rumoured Buffy reboot.
Yeah.
Bluffy.
Nice.
Which I would be interested to see, but at the same time, it doesn't need it. We don't have that kind of cool vampire world.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I do.
So sort of Buffy took off Lost Boys a lot, with vampires being leather jacket wearing
Here's
hipsters,
the thing
basically.
now. We're like old in terms of what youth used to be, right? When I see something with like teenagers in now, my reaction is kind of, you think you're so cool, don't you, with your new things that we don't get.
I always forget you have that reaction.
I do. I hate it, but it's there. So the Lost Boys is going to be like modern kids. It's not going to be like the 80s. It's not going to be like Stranger Things.
Well, why couldn't it be? That'd be interesting if it was set in the 80s.
I hope it would be. Because I don't like if they get out their Instagram and then they're doing selfies and
no, but they won't be able to
whatnot.
take pictures of it. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
There's no Instagrams. It's just backgrounds.
Yeah.
They can't take selfies.
Just what? Just the floor. Well, why are you just taking a picture of the floor?
Oh, there is, of course. There is What We Do in the Shadows coming out. It's a TV series, isn't there?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we've actually got cast. Tyler Posey.
No idea.
Keely Sanchez.
Who?
Medallion Rome. Oh my god, these names.
Nah, I've never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Dakota Shapiro.
Nah. Get rid of it, don't you?
The Frog Brothers are now sisters by
changing things. They hate change. No, don't make him.
The blood-sucking Brady Bunch, they've described it. Oh dear. Okay, well, let's move on.
Oh, I'll let you have this one.
Child's Play. Child's Play that's currently being ruined by a reboot is getting a TV series.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But who's helming it?
They've made a mess of this franchise. I did hear about this one a while ago. Who's doing it?
Don Mancini. David Kirshen's producing.
Right, yes. So here's the thing. This is a TV series based on the original series. So yeah, Don Mancini, the original writer and director for most of it. And this is the huge thing.
The most important thing.
The voice.
Yes.
Did we work out how to say his name? Dourif? Let's say that. Brad Dourif coming back to do the character. I really hope this is a success. As a big middle finger up to the blooming film reboot. Although it's not going to be straight comedy like the last ones.
Right.
It's going to be more in tone to the first two movies.
So slasher, supernatural...
But they are still funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, massively.
Yeah, so anyway. But I'm looking forward to that one a lot. Sci-Fi Network. Big fan of sci-fi. They do some good stuff. Good stuff that tends to be bought out by Netflix as well, so...
I don't care. Interview with a Vampire next. Don't care. Interview with a Vampire next.
What's wrong with Interview with a Vampire?
I haven't seen it. I don't care. Tom Cruise is a vampire.
I mean, yeah. But look at them.
Oh, they just got stupid eyes.
Okay, the big one. Not just one, the big two.
The big two.
Alien.
Ugh.
Possibly my favourite sci-fi horror. Definitely my favourite sci-fi horror.
Yeah,
in fact.
same here.
One of my favourite sci-fis in general. They're doing 2 TV shows. Do you want to take the first one?
Okay, so the first is based... this is based on a source's account. But a live-action remake is headed to Hulu with Ridley Scott. Yeah, exactly my reaction. He will be standing in as executive producer.
Okay.
Many would argue that he has not done good service to the franchise with the likes of Alien Covenant.
No, he hasn't. In fact, one could say that he's ruined the franchise.
Yeah, with unnecessary backstory, silly redesigns, and a poor story.
So, it's a reboot then? Is that what we're getting from this information?
We don't need a reboot!
If it's anything like Prometheus...
Oh, man.
I mean, Alien Covenant got a lot right over Prometheus, I think. It got the setting right. It's the story and the characters that let it down.
My biggest letdown by a mile was the use of CGI, overuse of CGI for the xenomorph itself. It takes all the fear out of anything. If you make a monster CGI, it's not scary anymore because you know you can't touch it.
Also, it being a TV budget, it's going to be CGI.
Yeah, there you go.
But the second one's interesting. The second one is a 7-episode digital series based on Alien Isolation.
You liked that game, didn't you?
I love that game. Alien Isolation is in equal parts the most terrifying and exhilarating piece of video game thing. What? Video game ever. It's amazing. The joy of Alien Isolation is it's made to be as if it was done in the 70s. It's made to be like the Nostromo in the first film.
Oh, that's what you want.
So you've got big buttons and CRT monitors and corded phones and stuff.
It's designed with love.
Yeah. Unlike Prometheus, which had holograms and lasers. So that's interesting. There's not much information about this, but the game is about Amanda Ripley, Ellen's daughter, coming to see where she went, basically, trying to investigate the disappearance of her mother.
Where did Ripley have this child? Did she have this child on Earth? And then
Yes, because in Aliens, do you remember, she finds out that her daughter's had a full life and died.
Yeah, of course. But she hasn't.
But at this point, it's before then.
Right.
Because Ripley's in stasis for like 60 years.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that I'm really interested in that.
Yes.
I hope it's going to be live action.
I would recommend to all fans that you don't try and get your hopes up too much, because at least one of these will be crap.
At least one of these will be made by Ridley Scott.
Yeah. But yeah,
which is the weirdest thing to say.
This is the man who did Gladiator and Alien.
This is also the man. Did you see his acceptance speech at the was it the Oscars or the BAFTAs a couple of years ago?
What?
He basically stood up, got the Lifetime Achievement Award, and stood up and complained about how no one respects his voice and how hard his life's been. You know, oh mate, you're no George Miller, mate. Anyway.
You have one message. Message 1.
Hi, I'm Jodie. I play Rachel, and I had a great time yesterday being sprayed from head to toe in fake blood. I enjoyed it so much, actually. I'm not going to take it off. I think I'll just go to work like it tomorrow.
Please, sir.
What is it, boy?
Please, can you sponsor us?
What?
You could sponsor a show on North Herts FM that's made for the community, by the community. And let us keep making great content. We're a fledgling station, but one with over 10,000 listeners a month. And it keeps growing.
And what's in it for me?
5 adverts a day, sir. Plus, the world will get to see your branding at live events, online, and be proudly displayed alongside the show you choose to sponsor on all online content. Plus, on-air mentions and branding. It won't even be taken out of the shows on Listen Again, so your brand will be out there forever.
Then how much is that going to cost me?
Only £360 a year, sir, or £30 a month if you just want to run adverts instead of a full sponsor.
It isn't more?
No, sir. Just head to northhertsfm.com for more information, or get in touch on Twitter or Facebook.
This is brilliant. Show for sale, show for sale.
Hello, Screen Bucketeers. If you like supporting your favourite local radio station, North Herts FM, you might as well make use of our fantastic wall. Basically, all you need to do is spend £50 and you can get your product, service, or whatever message you want on the wall and promote. And support your radio station at the same time. Let's have a little clicky on one, shall we? Garden City Services, Plumbing and Heating Specialists. Garden City Services, Plumbing and Heating are proud to support North Herts FM. Call 01462 678 913 now. It didn't say now, I added that in.
Nick's Game Reviews. Devil May Cry 5.
It has begun. I will show you your worst nightmares. I will give you despair and death.
I first played Devil May Cry way back when I was 12 years old. 12. Ugh, so old. At the time, I remember saying to my brother, "It's a stupid game, it doesn't make any sense, it's too hard, wah!" So I didn't play another Devil May Cry game until last year, when I picked up Ninja Theory's DMC Devil May Cry, as it had come onto Xbox Game Pass. I'd heard many people raving about it and how it had relaunched the series in a fun and attractive way. And they were right. In contrast to the dark setting of the original series of games, the unnecessarily cheesy script and dramatically over-the-top set pieces, you had a game that was bright and colourful with a perfectly cheesy script and bombastically over-the-top set pieces. It took what people loved about the gameplay, which had always been the unique selling point for the series, stripped out all the unnecessary boring gump and replaced it with, well, fun. And on top of that, it had a script written by Alex Garland. I mean, what a perfect way to relaunch the series and bring in new fans. This is exactly how I want them to continue on. Yeah, I know, stupid, hopeful thinking that game developers would do what I want. So Devil May Cry 5 came out last week, and it's back to the same old, except there is something about this one. It's like it has a new breath of fresh air running through. The visuals are massively improved. The gameplay is a lot more accessible, less on the hard as nails and more on the we're going to help you look as awesome as possible fighting these demons. The story is still, well, it's Devil May Cry. There are 3 main characters: Dante, I remember him from the first one, Nero, short-haired Dante, and this new character V, which it's like if Klaus from Umbrella Academy went really, really emo. V is the most interesting character in this game, brand new to the series, and he conjures mystical animals to do the fighting for him, so not your traditional hack and slash character. Overall, Capcom have done it yet again, continuing their run of releasing new games from old established series and somehow making them massively popular again, even amongst new fans. First Monster Hunter World, then Resident Evil 2 Remake, and now Devil May Cry 5. If you like Devil May Cry, you'll love this game. If you didn't like Devil May Cry before, give this one a go, because you might like it now. Devil May Cry 5 is far from being a bad game. For me though, it's just not Ninja Theory.
What's happening now?
Get out of here! This is a bad move! You're just dead weight!
So. We made a film.
We've made some of a film.
We made some of a film. Yes. So last time we were on the eve of shooting and we were cripplingly nervous, weren't we?
Yeah, really nervous.
It was the first time we really got the crew together and actually shot at night. We were very conscious of time.
Oh, and what about the trespassers?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Saturday was shooting day, or shooting night. We started quite early. Mm-hmm. What was the plan?
So, we got up, we convened at yours. You and Josh had done some location scouting prior. Mm-hmm. We didn't convene at yours, we were there.
Yes.
Yeah, we had watched some horror movies the night before. We quickly... Ruben arrived, our technical wizard.
Yep.
And instantly we discovered we had a little sound problem.
Yes, well, we were conscious of it as we recorded the show last time, but
Yeah.
very quickly fixed it. Thank heavens.
Yes. I went to Hitchin to find things like goggles to protect vulnerable eyes from slime and other sorts of supplies. And then we came back and we were getting ready for the actors to arrive. And then...
Well, we had one very eager young actor who got the early train, like a good boy.
Yes, like any good boy should.
So we got him.
Yeah.
Isabel arrived because she drove herself.
Of course,
all
yes.
Good, all good. And then we were waiting on the others, who were due to arrive at
4:30.
No, because we were going to rehearse. It shouldn't be like 3 o'clock.
3, yeah.
And then we got a text message.
Yes.
There were trespassers on the line.
Trespassing on a train track.
Yeah.
On our train track.
I don't know what was happening. So the actors got stuck, essentially. I went on Twitter, looked up trespass train. Apparently, it was happening all over the shop. So I don't know what was going on there.
So people were complaining about something. Train related.
I guess so.
By holding up everyone's plans.
By ruining our day.
Yes.
But it's all good in the end. We got everyone together, got everyone in their costumes, everything fit.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a good start.
Very good.
We started putting together some costume. And then, when all the runners arrived, we all shot off to the location.
We did. And you and Josh magnificently chose a location at the top of a massive... Well, it wasn't that steep, but it was big. The top of a massive
was long.
hill.
Yeah.
It was long, but it was worth it. Great location. It looked proper woods.
Yes.
So you guys, the runners had already got there with Josh and Ruben, started setting tents up and things like that.
Yep.
Then you arrived with the actors.
I arrived with the actors because we were going to rehearse, but because we had lost 2 hours of time, I just made the call to just go on to location and start blocking the scenes out there. And yeah, one thing, I was very impressed by the fact that the actors were completely prepared. Bearing in mind, the films we normally make, we've just finished the script before we start shooting.
Yes.
So we don't know the lines.
And we're just making up ways to make clowns' hands move as we go.
Exactly. But they knew everything about the thing. In fact, they were reminding me what they were doing.
Really?
Yeah, and I wrote and did all the story. I mean, not to a huge degree, but it was eye-opening.
Yeah.
How good it was.
Working with professionals.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. So meanwhile, while the runners were all drastically putting up... So we had 2 tents. We had the film set, basically. And then we had a equipment tent.
Yep.
HQ tent.
And then we had a little mat to the right of that where Josh was putting the finishing touches to one of the costumes.
Yep.
And then we got him up a tree as well, didn't we?
So yes, the first thing we did... so Josh and Ruben... Well, Josh went up a tree.
Yes.
The ladder was taken away.
And that's where he stayed.
With a 25-litre bucket of slime.
Yep.
Which must have been very heavy. So Ruben had rigged up some rope so they could pulley it up to the branch so Josh could hold it. Because they couldn't actually carry it up.
It was bad.
And that's where Josh stayed for... He's told me an hour.
He's exaggerating.
I think that's exaggerating.
He's always exaggerating.
What a liar.
I have to leave him up there next time.
Yeah, so while we were preparing the first shot, there he was, just above my head. We have shared some pictures of that on our Twitter, at Holiday Media, retweeted by Screen Bucket. And yeah, the first major thing was just covering our actor, Bailey, with 25 litres of purple slime.
And he took it like an absolute champ.
He really did.
I mean, he was nervous at first. I didn't lie to him. He said, "This is going to be really cold, isn't it?" And I said, "Yes, mate, it's going to be freezing." And I just said it without even thinking. And I thought, should I have said that? But he psyched himself up. He was jogging on the spot, and he ran up to his spot, looked up, sploosh. Brilliant.
Do you know what? He did say, because Josh poured a little bit out to see where it would land, so he would run up to it. And the first thing he said was, "That sounded heavy."
Yes. It just landed. It didn't land with a splash, it landed with a thud.
Yeah. And then we just got everything done. We had a shooting schedule, which you had painstakingly worked over. Each shot had so long to do and setting up time and stuff.
It didn't make any... Yeah, it didn't...
How'd it go?
Didn't, the time we were done hours... Well, we
started
behind schedule.
We started 2 hours, was it?
Over an hour.
Okay.
But then we ended way ahead, were it not for the rain.
Well, this is the thing, yeah. So we were at least an hour behind because I had to do the rehearsals on location, what we were going to do before we even got there. And then we just rushed through the shooting, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we were 2 hours ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
By the time we ended. So we were supposed to be going on till 2 a.m, and had prepped for that. Food and blankets and warm clothes and stuff. We didn't need them in the end. Come about 10 o'clock, it's about these little drops of rain. And we're like, okay, this might go away.
Yeah.
It did not. It did not. Spoilers, it did not.
It was the weather gods decided to rob us of what will probably end up being another £300.
Yes.
Because
Thanks
we're gonna have to,
God.
Yeah, we're going to have to get the actors and the actresses back for one more, plus any necessary runners' travel costs.
Yeah, so, yeah. It was all good. We got a few last bits. Thankfully, with the help of umbrellas and runners who were holding lights under the umbrellas, and someone holding the umbrella above me with the camera, we managed to use the woods.
Yeah.
So we don't actually have to go back to the woods. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think part of the reason the shooting schedule, from an educational point of view, for people who are maybe planning their own film, the reason the shooting schedule didn't work as planned, I think because I was aware that we were behind, so I was doing all of the light movements and stuff, which I shouldn't really have been doing as director.
No, well, I'll be doing that next time.
But just like running over, grabbing the light, moving that light. Right, shoot. Light. And yeah, because one of the runners commented saying, you wouldn't stop. They've said that about me. But it's we had a lot of compliments though. Bearing in mind it's our first professional shoot, we had a lot of people saying how professional it was.
Yeah, well, that's always good to hear. I mean, it looked the part. The set looked the part. You had, people walking around with booms and wires, and then a costume department and a props tent. It was professional.
Yeah, I think myself, you, and Josh all need to pat ourselves on the back because it wasn't one of us doing it. It was just a complete. Everyone was there. Everyone was doing their thing. I mean, probably me less so because I was just with the actors.
No, you were definitely doing the most. There was one halfway point where I got lost in the schedule, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?" And then found myself again. But I was very proud of myself because I got to play a shadow. So I think I should be credited as an actor.
I think you will be, yeah.
Can I be called Shadow?
Shadow Man.
Yeah, we had to do an effect. I'm sure many of you have seen an effect in a film where someone's looking around and then a blur rushes past the screen, and you're like, "What was that?" I was that blur.
Yeah. Took a few takes though, didn't it?
Yeah, well, that was Jodie's fault because she wasn't swinging the bat properly.
Was it?
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't the Velociraptor lean that you were doing.
You got to do a Velociraptor lean, man.
Yeah. So yeah, really, really pleased with how it went, and our runners were fantastic. The crew, I couldn't complain at all. Bear in mind, we had one drop out.
Yeah.
So we were one down, and everyone just completely worked towards where we were supposed to be. Everyone seemed to get it, even though we hadn't really prepped them. Everyone was on it.
Yeah, I just knew. And there was a really warm sense of accomplishment when we got back to your house and we went into your kitchen. We kicked off our really, really muddy boots, and then slicing open the chocolate cake, and you're pouring rum and coke for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like this is the reward. This is one of the many rewards of making a film, not counting the film itself. But when you get those moments where you've come together as a team and actually achieved what you've.
There is a really giddy sense to it. It's like. Thinking of Fear and Loathing, it's like the mid part of a party when everyone's friendly.
Yeah.
Where it's like we skip straight to that, you know?
Do you know, I think that doesn't always happen from what I've heard about film sets.
No. Although I've been on shoots where everyone hugs at the end.
Really?
And you're like, why? But generally there's a very happy, buzzy... I think that's a sign of a good crew, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... I was really, really pleased. So we've got 2 more shoot dates now because of the rain.
Yeah.
Oh, incidentally, yeah, the rain. So we waited it out for an hour. Then it went, nah. It's vodka and Evil Dead time.
Yes.
Which was a highlight of the evening, actually. Watching Evil Dead 2 with the actors and...
Just giving them a bit of education and what good horror is.
I think they had a good time as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Iz hadn't seen any of those sort of films, and she was like... She said afterwards...
She was laughing!
She said afterwards that she thought it would be really scary.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
No.
It's not supposed to be. So yeah, bring on the next date.
Yes.
I do feel like the worst is over now. I'm
cautiously optimistic.
Good. Oh, there's a lot to talk about next time as well.
Oh, yes.
But we'll keep that secret.
Where the fun starts.
Anyway, Adam's Film Reviews. Us, 2019.
Jason?
Where were you? I didn't know if you were lost. Stick with me, and I'll keep you safe.
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared of a family? Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
What are you people?
It's us.
Written and directed by Jordan Peele, Us introduces us to Adelaide Wilson, her husband Gabe and their 2 children, Zora and Jason. Together they're on their way to stay at Adelaide's family's beach house in Santa Cruz, a fact that fills Adelaide with dread. See, something happened in Santa Cruz way back in 1986, and whatever happened changed Adelaide forever. Bear with me, I'm gonna try extremely hard not to give anything away that isn't already in the trailer, because I sincerely think this film is worth watching, and the least you know about it going into the film, the better. What I can say is that Adelaide and her family are soon in the crosshairs of a group of mysterious red boiler suited figures that simply appear one evening on the driveway of the beach house. In a genuinely unnerving scene, Gabe leaves the house to confront the 4 shapes and tries to move them off the property, but there's no reply. The 4 figures simply stand and watch. Suddenly they attack, and we soon see that they are, in fact, perfect duplicates of Adelaide and her family. Kind of. Described as shadows, these beings are little more than animals, except, that is for Red, Adelaide's verbose and calculating alternative self, and they want only one thing: revenge. What starts as a home invasion type movie becomes a fight for survival way beyond the beach house, with the violence soon spreading like wildfire across America. And that is about all I can say. Us is something else. A love letter to the horror genre. It's easy to spot the influences in Peele's work. There's a particularly strong Hitchcock and Kubrick vibe, with long stretches of tense, suspense-building scenes with the camera fixed on each character, and some quite impressive sudden bursts of violence that were really satisfying to watch. I've read that Peele was disappointed that people didn't see the horror in his last film, Get Out, and decided to go full horror on Us. I frankly felt Us didn't quite deliver on what it promised. You've probably seen the posters describing it as a nightmare or existentially terrifying. I don't know. To me it felt more like a thriller exploring the depths of humanity and its relationship with class. I wouldn't call it a horror film. It's also funny, like really funny. Get Out had a handful of laughs, but Us quite seriously had me chuckling throughout the film. What Peele does really well is having full engaging characters, and Us is no exception. The only trouble is sassy comebacks, sidelong glances and quick-paced timing, while great, only worked to undermine the suspense that the rest of the film did so well. The main concept too is just bizarre. Us works best when it's zeroed in on Adelaide, I guess her family as well. But the deeper the rabbit hole went, the more questions I had. Ignore the background, there's a lot of fluff there. Us is a film that works best as an odd, quirky tale packed full of dark humour and sinister set pieces. But I doubt it's going to give you nightmares.
Be careful.
You have one message. Message 1.
Hi, I'm Isabel and I play Zara. Yesterday went really well, apart from the rain. But yeah, it went really good. A lot of slime, a lot of blood, cold. But yeah, it was amazing.
Well, there we are. There's a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah, so we're a bit jumbled. We're not jumbled, we're just stretched.
Yes, apologies for the lack of features. I think that's something we need to adjust in the future.
Yeah, well, we're features in ourselves. We're fantastic features. We have fantastic features.
Well, I'm feeling like a water feature shortly.
Same.
Yes, so that was the show.
Yeah.
We're going to sort out some more interviews.
Yep, definitely.
In the future. Hope to get some games going. But for now, please forgive us for our mind being on other things. Such as... Trailers. Bombarded with trailers.
We've been hit hard with the trailers. Hit hard.
Okay, so, where are we starting?
Right, we'll start with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Ahaha.
Okay, so...
Torrentiero.
Mr. Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
It's his 9th movie.
Of 10 that he's said he's going to do, is that right?
Okay, so we can look forward to one more and he can put his feet up. We can see that it's a black comedy, and like the trailer I thought looked quite light-hearted, which is funny considering what some of the subject matter will be. But it's starring Leo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and it revolves around television actor Rick Dalton and his stunt double Cliff Booth. We know that the Manson murders are going to be involved in this. We know that Sharon Tate is being played by Margot Robbie. There's Al Pacino. There's Emil Hirsch.
Yeah, so it wasn't what I expected.
Not in the slightest.
I thought it would be heavily Manson murders. The trailer implies it's a Hail Caesar sort of environment. It's
yes.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Which obviously works in the title a lot more. But yeah, I was quite surprised.
I was expecting this dark and twisted sort of trailer with a kind of Inglourious Bastards like vibe of cynicism. I don't know. I didn't expect...
There's more glitz and glamour than I thought would happen. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Interesting to see what's going to happen with that, I think.
Absolutely. And here's a little fun fact. The dude who's playing Charles Manson, his name is Damon Herriman, is also going to play Charles Manson in season 2 of Mindhunter. Did you see the first season of Mindhunter?
No.
It's incredibly good.
Yeah.
It's like sort of loosely based on how they kind of came up with the study of serial killers, or kind of made it better.
Cool.
In like the 70s and 80s, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, that's that one.
So yeah. Yeah, looking forward to that. Stranger Things.
What do you think? What are you mmming about? That quick scene where it showed some bottoms in a gym.
Well, actually, it feels like the 80s everyone thinks of.
Yes.
It feels less cult 80s horror movies and more neon and colour and light.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely seems... I think... Because we've got similar complaints about the second season, being that it was just more of the same and it felt unnecessary a little bit. Didn't really seem to know what it was doing. It's shifted. I think we're on a different gear now.
Yes.
Things seem different. They all look really old, for one.
It's like when they would have a 2-year gap between Harry Potter films and all of a sudden all of them have entered puberty.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm quite intrigued by it. I hope it goes in a very different direction.
It's funny that both of us... So the trailer was introduced by a mini-trailer where Dustin comes home from summer camp and he's led out of his room by a horde of toy robots.
Yes, yeah.
And both of us, with completely different robots, went, I had that!
Yeah. Why did that... I know why that happened with me. I've got an older brother.
Oh, I don't know where that robot came from.
Charity shop.
Probably. I loved him.
Yeah, no, it's... They all have jobs. What's that about?
Yeah, so Steve's working at like a weird sailor-themed ice cream parlour. And he's still he's still brilliant.
I love that it's July the 4th. It's Independence Day. They're sticking with the holiday theme.
Yeah.
They've skipped Easter.
You're a bit funny about people skipping Easter, aren't you?
I don't think people should skip Easter.
No.
It's the important one.
God, I thought I was the religious one.
It's got more chocolate in it.
Ah, there we go.
But, yeah. Because I always wanted them to do Stranger Things where each season was a completely different, weird thing.
Yeah.
I wanted maybe the next one, when they're 18, they should go to summer camp and meet a Jason Voorhees. You know.
Well, I'm just picturing it as like Wet Hot American Summer now.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. But yes, yeah. So I'm intrigued that it's different.
Yeah, same. We've got Toy Story 4, Revenge of the Fork.
The tone of your voice says a lot.
Do you know what? I was kind of in a similar thing. I've never been like as big a Toy Story fan as everyone else seems to be. I do like it. 3 really pleasantly surprised me. It had an absolutely incredible ending, especially. With 4, I'm kind of back in the do we need it territory. Obviously, everyone loves these characters so much, so I'm probably like, on the losing side of that argument. But from what I saw from the trailer, it's more of, Woody gets lost. Woody has a sort of identity crisis where he thinks, should he be looking after one kid or can he entertain all these kids? And
the tone's a bit different, though. I think because he meets up with Bo Peep,
which is great.
Who's now like a strong, empowered woman, which is completely not what her character was before.
Yeah.
Because she's sort of teamed up with all the Lost toys, so it's almost like maybe he's turning his back on being a toy.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting arc, possibly. I'm not massively sold on it either, to be honest.
I don't like the Fork character already, but on the other hand, I like the idea that a toy doesn't have to be something that's manufactured. You can make a toy from anything.
Oh yeah,
and it comes to life. That's a nice touch. And I don't like that the toys are really kind of like you know, in 3 and in 2. They would show you a toy and you're like, oh wow, cool, I remember that or whatever. In 4, it's kind of, they've got like not Chucky dolls,
ventriloquist dummies.
They've got ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah, where does it stop?
Yeah, I was thinking, but there's loads of other famous toys that they haven't really surely incorporated into it. Where's, I don't know.
What are all inanimate objects alive in the Toy Story universe? If they're shaped like a face.
If the kid believes it's a toy, it's a toy.
So statues are alive, are they?
Yeah.
And unable to move off their plinths.
And they just live in a consciousness.
Ooh.
Screaming abode of eternity when all they can do is watch people walk past and see the poo falling from pigeons.
They have no mouth, but they must scream.
Always screaming.
Especially when they're in public places and people are seeing them all the time. Well,
we've created a new hell.
John Wick 3. Tell me about that.
So, I mean, there's not much to say in terms of developments from the first trailer. There's more action. He's on the motorcycle scene was in the first trailer, but there's more of what's his face mentor man, who like sets all the other guys on him in the second one. I'm being really vague. He's killing things. He's shooting people. He's doing swords.
I'm not interested.
I don't think I am too much either.
Do you know? What I love about John Wick is the universe around him. I really don't like John Wick as a character.
Oh, really?
He's the I'm a hard man. Oh,
I'd like
respect me, teenage boys. Worship me.
Nah, that's cool.
But it doesn't have the and you've got a strutting woman who's the nemesis and all this stuff. It just feels really it feels like it's the cliche and done. It's not like Polar that spun the whole thing on its head and did weird stuff.
True, but Polar was trying to be something very, very bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why I love it. It's like a cartoon.
Well, I just love Keanu Reeves, and it'll always up it for me just because it's him.
I guess.
But yeah, I agree with the fact that I didn't get wowed by the trailer.
I bet people are. That's the thing. I bet people are really excited about it.
Well,
I don't know why.
Good for them.
No, they must conform. Conform. Marvel Endgame.
I thought, well, I was halfway through it, and I was like, oh, I've clicked on one of those stupid fan-made trailers. Because it had all of the...
Yeah.
It was using footage from
Good
Iron
point.
Man, from Captain America, from Thor, from the older films.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, who's made this and wasted my 2.5 minutes? And then they had bits of new footage in it, and I was like, okay, they're doing a sort of looking back thing. And I was like, all right. But that's good, actually, because Endgame is a film where you don't want to have any more spoilers.
It's definitely...
I want it to be fresh.
It definitely has the vibe of the end.
Mm.
Even though they show off some new suits and costumes and stuff, it definitely has a concluding vibe to it.
Yeah, people are going to die in this film.
Also, Thor and Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
that's a team up. People have been talking about them on social media.
Are they going to have a little...
Well, I think all the other characters are basically meaningless because they're the two that are probably going to do everything.
Oh, I thought you meant they were going to...
Was it in that trailer where he summons the hammer and she doesn't react?
Yeah, she's just staring at him.
And he goes, no,
Yeah.
I like her.
Yeah.
I like her.
I know. Oh, she came from space. I fell in love.
I summoned my hammer. She didn't even flinch.
Thanos didn't click her away. What a fool he was.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to watch it.
I'm
That's the thing with these Marvel films. I'm going to watch it.
I want to watch the hell out of it. I'm very excited.
Are you?
Yeah.
You liar.
No, I am. I am.
What did you think of my play? It's fine. What? It's fine. It's good. Oh, God. Is that all the trailers?
Yeah, that's it.
There were more, I'm sure, but...
You're sure? Were they poor? Were they at the door? Did they have jaws?
Go on.
More?
Go on.
Did one have claws?
Maybe. Go on. What else did it have?
Saw? The movie Saw?
Screen Bucket on North Herts FM. Beep boop.
Don't know.
Hello. Yeah, so that was the show.
Don't clap your hands. What are we on the stage at some sort of corporate event?
You caught me off guard.
Hi
mate.
guys.
You caught.
Just hoping to warm you all up, guys.
You caught me off guard.
Did I?
You caught me off guard. We've had the waffle iron on for too long, and
sweaty.
The waffles are burnt, and we now have to end the show.
Syrups all over the floor.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the show, Adam?
Yeah. It felt.
It happened.
It happened. I think we just started talking and just didn't stop.
Yeah.
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 Oh well. Onwards and upwards.
God, yeah, we need more than this.
No, we do. Ha! I'll tell you what I'm excited about. I was meant to mention the song as well. Motley Crue, The Dirt. It comes out tomorrow as we record. By the time people listen to it, people would have already watched it.
What, is this some sort of music show now?
Look, you asked me to talk about something. It's film related.
It's
exciting. It's the film, The Dirt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the film's out.
The film.
Oh, the film's out.
The film I've been talking about for the past 4 months is out tomorrow at time of recording.
Oh, right. When are you going to see it?
Saturday. After we've done the stupid tent stuff and had our meeting. I'm going to go home.
All right.
I'm going to watch The Dirt.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start editing this monstrosity.
This might be the first time we've ever gone over 2 hours of just conversation. There was a lot to talk about.
There was a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Please send any comments, thoughts, or sort of vague complaints to @screen_bucket on Twitter or @North Herts FM on Instagram and Twitter as well. Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah. End it. End it. End it.
Ended.